sharing expertise.
Working together,
supporting each other locally,
improving lives.
As a new head teacher, being part of the partnership has been a real lifeline for me, because it initially gave me a network of experienced head teachers that I could build relationships with, who had schools who were very similar to mine, faced similar challenges.
For me as a head, the best thing about the partnership is being able to meet with a group of heads who are in similar schools to discuss different perspectives on issues. If there's confusion about something, it's always good to have the support of your colleagues, and it's also really good to have people that you can network with and you can go to for advice that you know have been through similar situations.
For me, it's been really valuable having such an experienced group of heads that I have huge respect for within our locality, so that we can think really carefully about what it is that we need, you know, within our areas, as opposed to perhaps citywide.
I think having an opportunity to discuss and debate current issues, but also within that sort of local context, which is so important for us.
I think it would take me a long time to name some of the main highlights of being in the CLP, because I feel like it's been part of my whole career as a head teacher. So a lot of all the enrichment things I think have always been a highlight, because that's where the pupils have felt like they were part of the CLP. But my recent highlight was the trip to Early Excellence this week. It's not very often that as a head you get a chance to go and see something so inspirational and spend a day being immersed in it and coming back and thinking, oh, that's what I really want to do.
The enrichment that we've been able to provide for the children, and those opportunities, whether they be at the Albert Hall with the singing or at Harvey Haddon with the sports, I think they have stood out for everybody who's been involved. For the parents, receiving funding to provide a parents' conference for Dunkirk parents at the university. It was a little bit of a pilot programme, but the impact of that was significant.
The Relishing Reading Project, we absolutely loved that. That was one of our main highlights in the CLP. The Olympics as a sports event, and all the sports events that have been run have been just fantastic. And as I said before, the children have accessed things that they would never have accessed otherwise, and they have made friendships out of it. We did a music event at the Albert Hall, which was absolutely fabulous, and I loved working on the attendance project as well, having lots and lots of different children coming together in different places.
The meetings, the face-to-face meetings that we had really helped to clarify systems, procedures. I thought that was a really good piece of work that happened between CLP and social care, and we had the main people there so we could hear it from the horse's mouth and we could discuss things, and then people went back and then came back, and it was a good development piece of work.
CLP fits into other partnerships by virtue of the fact that we are a unique group of schools. We are part of other partnerships across the city, and that's a much wider partnership with the shared idea of being a Nottingham city school, but we are a unique group where we have similar catchments, similar issues, and it means that we can provide things for our member schools that are unique to us and that are devoted to what we actually need.
I think the CLP fits in with other partnerships quite well. Initially I was quite worried as to whether it would, but I think it does. And the ones I was thinking of really were the NLT, but for me that is about working together as city schools. The Transform Teaching Alliance, for me that's about working with a very diverse range of schools from the city, from the county, you know, and within our local area and within the CLP, and it's a different kind of work. The CLP for me is around our locality and the challenges that we all face within that locality.
We're a smaller group of schools, we can do smaller focused pieces of work, but again it's about that those schools are very much similar within their challenges, so and the catchment and the families, the communities and so forth.
With regard to other partnerships in the city, I think it's a very difficult time for head teachers. We're all members of different partnerships, For me, the CLP stands out from the rest because it's small, because we have developed very good, trusting relationships with one another, and because we know that we work together and we challenge one another and we get the best out of one another. And we do that within a very trusting relationship.
I think we could improve the CLP even further by taking just one or two key projects and working on those across our schools.
And I just think we don't get, as heads, we don't get many opportunities to sit for any length of time, for a decent length of time, just to talk about certain issues. So I think we'd all probably bring something different to the table if we're talking about a common issue. But sometimes there might be an issue you've got in your school that you just want to raise with somebody else and say, what would you do?
The systems within the senior leadership team and then the heads team, that those two groups somehow repeat themselves, having been on both now. And would there be some way of actually bringing those two together so that there would be, I guess, less meetings, but then everybody can discuss it as well.
For my school, working together as part of the CLP is particularly important because we share common context, and we are now part of many different partnerships and different groups, but sharing that same context means that we can identify key priorities.
We've looked at what are the main concerns for all of our schools, which often are very similar, and work together to introduce projects or do pieces of work so that we're not on our own, and then sharing that expertise amongst the schools has made a real difference.
The staff find the whole idea of shared training because with schools that have similar needs as ours, and also the sharing of good practice really, really useful.
The opportunity for staff to mingle with staff from other schools who are having the same challenges within similar local schools. It's been a great privilege, I think, for them to work together and to get to know other local schools, because it can be very, particularly increasingly, I'd say, very insular within schools. It's great to have that opportunity for staff to work with other colleagues who have the same challenges.
The pupils have benefited a lot from being in the CLP through shared events, for example sports events and musical events, and we did some gifted and talented sharing, and we made an attendance DVD as well.
In terms of our pupils, what we're able to do, I suppose, is have capacity, because what you have a bigger group of people, you have more resources, you can share your expertise, and that will impact on the children in a variety of ways. But ultimately for us, it's making sure that the children are all right, that they're well supported, and the attainment raises.
Because anything that helps the school and helps school improvement is going to have a beneficial effect for pupils. So not even thinking about some of the joint things that we've done where some children have directly benefited from being in the CLP. It is the fact that because of the staff, the contributions of staff, because of the contributions that I can make and make the most use of, that comes back into the school, and I think it makes us a better place, which is the knock onto that is that it's better for children.
Any opportunities to share practice, to enrich the curriculum for the children so that they can come together. I think we can all become quite isolated within our own school and our own school community, and having that opportunity to step outside of that and to bring the children together is fantastic.
Helping parents in the CLP, I think, is a really important thing. It's been a big piece of work for us over the years. And I would say that all schools have worked really hard to make sure they've got good relationships with parents. And we've always had good relationships with parents. I think the strength of the CLP has been that actually across all the schools, we've now got a group of people who are very good at supporting parents.
Just being part of the CLP and being able to make links with universities has been one of the areas which I think has had a real impact certainly for our parents, and where we actually took families to the university, where the university supported us magnificently. They actually set up things just for our families, and the results that we got back from those families were so positive in that it raised their awareness of what the university was, that it was somewhere that they could go as well as their children, and that that ultimately their aspirations were raised.
Our parent support worker has helped parents via the CLP in many, many different ways. She accessed a lot of high quality training, and she was also able to network with other parent support workers to improve her own practice, to seek advice, and then she was able to use that information to support parents here.
Each school has used their parent support worker in a different way. What's been really good is that we've been able to share that practice, and the impact on the families has been significant.
But some of the training that we've had, I've had members of staff go on the Outstanding Teaching course, the Middle Leadership, the NQT course, and the things that they're bringing back from other schools and into our school, and the fact that they're meeting and mingling with teachers from other CLP schools, I think has been a real strength. And it's nice to have something that is probably tailored for us, in addition to CPD that is tailored for on a broader level.
As well as supporting their training, the CLP helps staff by giving them opportunities for professional development. That's something that we've only just started to access recently. We have people coming to observe one of our teachers in school, but it's a really great thing for him to be actually thinking he can share his practice with others, and it'll be lovely having other people in school, so it's something that we want to take advantage of more in the future.
I think staff's involvement in the CLP is varied, and it does depend on the priorities that we've identified. But for example, in our school, Heidi, our deputy, has been involved in driving the Relishing Reading programme, which is now in its second year. And I think the benefits of that on some of our staff who've been involved, but on staff in other schools, has been great. But also the benefit for Heidi in terms of taking on a different role, and a role that's valued within the partnership.
I'd miss the networking with other colleagues and other head teachers, really, because the best thing about the CLP is that it's very much a supportive network where there is no competition, and there is feels like a collective responsibility of everybody to help each other.
I would miss the shared expertise that we have, that by looking around the table at a group of heads, you know where the strengths in the schools lie, and if you need to go for advice and support or to share best practice, it's really easy to do so, and they're such an accessible group of people.
That network of support, working with people that I have huge respect for, the head teachers, I think that would be a real loss for me, and I don't think there's anywhere else that I could go to find that right now.
If the CLP did not exist, I would miss the opportunity to meet with colleagues and the tremendous support that I've received from colleagues over the years. There is nowhere else that I would get that support, and I don't think it matters whatever age or stage of your career that you're at. You know, there are times when we all need support from one another.
So for me, it's been my professional development.
Sharing expertise.
We've been able to support other staff across school as well.
Reaching out beyond our own schools.
Spending the whole day immersed in that environment at Early Excellence was just mind-blowing, really. And I wish I had a magic wand to make it so.
supportive,
good value for money,
and the support that we provide one another is brilliant.